I'm Allie. I came out after 20 years of marriage and I have 3 kids.
I'm Melissa and I have 2 kids and I came out at 37 after an 11-year marriage.
This podcast is about coming out later and the struggles and victories that come with it.
When coming out feels like the end of the world, but it's really just the beginning.
This is the Lesbian Chronicles. Welcome to the Lesbian Chronicles.
We are back, and this week we have some guests.
I know, we do have guests, which I'm getting kind of bored with just us, so this was like good timing.
Kind of boring, not gonna lie. Last week's episode was a little bit of a snooze
on top
fest.
of that, I see you all the time, so it's like I used
know,
to
now
kind
we
of
see each other all
like
the time, so.
look forward to the pod just because then it's like I get to like rehash what's going on in your life, but now it's like, dude, I already know. Like,
I know.
moving
we see each
on,
other way
moving
too much
on.
now.
Exactly. So yeah, tell us about our guests.
Our guests are probably familiar to those people who've been listening to the podcast. We are joined by our friends Stacey and Christin. And you've both been on the podcast separately, and this is your first time together. So welcome.
Yes, welcome you guys.
Stacey's is episode 209, if anyone wants to go back and listen.
Oh, really? It's 209.
baby.
Okay, that's great. I'm so glad
Christin,
to hear
you fall asleep to it every night when you guys are together.
Exactly.
If we're ever apart, which is rare, I know I can go listen to that and I can hear Stacey's voice.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, that's so sweet.
That's okay. That's okay.
209. Okay, very good.
I love it.
Well, Melissa,
yeah.
tell us how you know these guys.
Well, I know Stacey through my ex, and you guys were friends in high school, but you were both straight. And then, you know, Stacey came out later. So yeah, quote straight is Kristin's doing right now. We've been there. We've all been there.
Yes, we have.
The good old heteronormative path of life.
It's true.
But yeah, that's how we connected. And then Stacey, you met Christin a few months after I think you and I first met. So.
And I think also I met Stacey briefly at Porch Fest before you two were together, potentially.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah.
She kept going on and on about how amazing Porch Fest was.
It was pretty amazing, I have to say.
I was actually there with my first girlfriend I ever
Oh,
had.
really? Well, can I tell you guys, this year, someone just asked me if I'm going to Porch Fest, and I feel this sense of like I've moved now right around the corner. So technically, I should go to Porch Fest, but I feel this sense of like, now that I'm not like living where Porch Fest is, I'm almost like, I don't want to say hiding, but I'm kind of like, I don't want to go back to it. It's like I'm kind of hiding because I don't want to see my neighbor. I like have this whole weird thing going on right now with myself where I'm like, I don't want to run into people. And over there.
We get that though.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. Like you need a break.
I need a break.
You need that space
I
and
do.
time.
It's literally a half a
It's
mile
like
away.
walking into the lion's den. Everybody's going to be like, hey.
I'm
what
walking
happened?
into the lion's den and it's a half a mile from here. So it's
Yeah.
like, but I have to hide because it's like, I don't want to have to do the thing. What happened? Why'd you move? Like, I don't have the energy yet.
Well, and we heard about your breakup listening to your podcast.
Oh, shit.
And as you were talking about moving, because you're like, oh, I'm moving.
Yeah.
And you were telling that whole story about the crazy like rent thing.
Yes.
Stacey and I were driving and I was like, oh my God, is Allie separate? Like what?
I know.
And then we
She's
heard it
dropping
all
little-
on the podcast and we were just like,
I know.
Like,
Do you know,
on
I
my
was even like
low.
that. Like, it's just, I never dreamed. Like, I truly didn't. This isn't what I pictured. Like, I just didn't. So I'm still grappling with all of that. So in grappling with all that, I'm hiding from my old neighbors. That's what's really happening.
Well, and the good news is that it's on Pride weekend. So
It's
there's
on
going to be a
Pride
lot
weekend.
of other stuff going on.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys will be around. You'll see. I mean,
yeah, totally.
it's a
This will
blast.
be Kristin's first Pride in Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really? Okay.
which I think
Oh.
is better than Nashville.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so cool to
You
know.
might need to cut that from the.
I know.
I mean,
What?
I've been to both. I agree. Although last time I went to Nashville Pride, I did have a lot of fun. I will say
I know
that.
we did
Like,
have fun. We did,
so,
but Atlanta just goes all out.
Well, do you want to know
like-
this too? We have more gay people.
Well, that's. I mean, you're a bigger
Because you're
city.
We're a
Yeah.
bigger
You're a much
city.
bigger
We're
city.
We're also, I think, more of a lesbian city. I think Nashville
You
has a lot of
are.
lesbians, but we are a lesbian city.
You are. I've always said
Yeah.
that.
Yes. Yeah, that's because I'd go.
So when are you
I'd
guys
go
moving
visit.
here?
I know. When are you moving?
Stacey, when we early in our relationship,
Yeah.
Stacey was like, "What would you think about moving to Atlanta?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "The traffic is horrible."
The traffic is horrible, but all you have to do is live down here. I don't leave the 2-mile bubble of where I live.
And you time it also.
And I time it.
You better make sure that's a good 2-mile bubble.
It's a fucking killer bubble. If you want to live with all the lesbians in the entire
make
city.
Sure you get in the bubble.
I got the best coffee. I got the best wine. I've got walkability and every neighbor's fucking gay.
You know, it's funny that you always call it your bubble, because where I live in Peachtree City is known as the bubble.
The
because
bubble.
It's so like cured and like a planned city that everybody's like perfect in the bubble.
It is.
But I have to leave the bubble to be gay.
You gotta come to my bubble.
Lesbian bubble.
I got a lesbian bubble.
Yes, exactly. She's in the lesbian bubble. I am in the straight suburban mom bubble.
Listen, I don't know how much the Atlanta tourism or moving whatever thing is
paying
you,
me.
Allie, but
I know.
their money for it.
I said this the other day.
Y'all help me pump her up. Help me
Come.
convince her
Okay,
to
you got it. When you're here for Pride, I'm just going to do a quick little show you a few little things.
Yes.
Because I love this city, and I truly think this it's a great place to live. The restaurants, we have the best food. It's walkable. It's affordable compared to a lot of these other huge cities, but these are
not words that you normally associate with Atlanta. So,
well, again, it's like you got to know the right areas.
You got to know the right areas.
Exactly.
Yeah. I do think too, like my little block, I didn't know this when I bought this house, but I had just stumbled upon like the gayest block of the gayest neighborhood. So it's like, if it wasn't already like super gay in Kirkwood, somehow I landed.
Like, what if my speaker breaks for the party? And I'm like, I can name 5 lesbians that live within walking distance of you.
I didn't even tell them the best.
That can fix it or have one.
I didn't even tell you the best one. Guess who's a block away? Indigo Girls.
Oh, that's right.
It's the one with a child that's my kid's age. I want to say it's Emily.
Probably Emily. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't think Amy has any kids.
Okay, then it's Emily. She's got a little girl, and I could literally throw a rock in her backyard. I keep hoping she's going to like hear this one day and like stop by. I mean, this is
like a knock on the door.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Maybe you just go write her a note.
I know. I was jogging this morning and they had a minivan in their driveway and the minivan was backing out. And I'm like waiting stalker vibes.
I would have thrown myself in front of the minivan.
I know, right? I must have been her wife because it wasn't her.
Oh man, that's so cool. I forgot about that one too. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on. Just come to Kirkwood.
Yes.
Let's get into this.
Let's get into it.
I'd love to hear from both of you the story of how you guys met.
I am a late in life lesbian. I was married to a man for 23 years and I came out at 43 years old. Basically, I had a serious first girlfriend who was long distance. She did not live in the state of Tennessee, but it got very serious quickly. We were together about 10 months and I realized that she wasn't my soulmate. I just knew. There was this gut feeling I had. I'm like, this woman is not my future wife. She's just not.
Was she doing things to like bring that up for you, or was it more just like?
I mean, they're lesbians. Hello, like anytime you're in a relationship, it's like your brain's going there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like I don't know. I would say things, and she like I would say things about getting married in the future, or even like just like a commitment ceremony, or that I pictured my future wife. Like I knew my future wife was out there, and she would say things like, I just never thought I'd be considered a wife to somebody, or like things like that. And it never like felt right. Like when we were together, it did, like the sex was amazing. Like we had fun together, but there was some like little piece missing. And it would like gnaw at me. And I mean, I literally broke up with the woman 3 times. It took 3 times of trying to break up with her. Because I'd break up with her and she would somehow convince me to try again. And I'd be like, okay, fine, we'll try again. And it just, that intuition was so strong that it wouldn't let me be at peace with it. And she'd say things like, I just don't understand. Why are you trying to break up with me right now? You have so many things going on. Like my divorce was being finalized. I had trouble with one of my kids. And she's like, I want to be there. I want to help you. I want to support you. Why are you doing this? Like even my mom didn't understand. Even my mom was like, why are you with her?
Right. What is wrong?
No one understood, but I was like, I know that I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste her time or my time. This relationship is not going to be long term. And I just knew it wasn't. So it was better for me to cut ties at that moment, rather than just having it keep going on and on.
Yeah.
So-
Melissa and I talk about that. Like, if you know you're on the wrong train, get off the fucking train, because it's going to be more expensive to come back the further away you
hard,
get. Yeah.
It's hard even being the one like breaking up with someone. It is hard.
Yeah.
I would cry. I felt sick to my stomach.
Right.
I didn't want to go to bed. And that's why I think I went back to her so many times, because I would just be like, finally be like, I can't do this anymore. This is too hard.
And you're
then
new.
I get back together with her.
Right. And you're gay and new. So it's also like, you don't know what the hell.
That was the other thing. So finally I broke up with her. And a couple months later, I had a friend reach out to me, and she said, hey, I know this woman. She's really cool. She's a director. I know how much you love movies. Like, I'm going to connect y'all on Facebook. And I was like, no, I don't want to date anybody.
Yeah.
I'm single. I'm trying to figure my shit out. Like, and she's like, well, I already did.
I already did it.
Oh my
I
God.
love this friend.
So Kristen sends me a message on Facebook, and I think right away, what did I say? Right away, I was just like, I don't know. I didn't blow her off completely.
No, you didn't.
But I wasn't being like, sure, I'll meet you over coffee tomorrow. It was
You weren't
more
ready.
like,
Yeah.
we'll see, maybe
Well,
we'll.
the very first thing I did was invite her, and I was looking for community in Nashville. I was also single, but I was like sort of trying to like figure out my own stuff and heal my own self. And so I was really trying to find community, and a friend of mine was playing this LGBTQ showcase in Nashville. And so I had a group of people, and I was inviting as many lesbians as I could to the showcase. So my first message to Stacey was, hey, this person said that you were super cool. I'm gathering people for this like showcase at Analog on this date. Here's the little, Instagram flyer for it. If you want to come, I've already purchased the tickets. I can put your name on the list.
Okay.
So it was
Nice.
I know, which is kind of a flex.
It was
Right.
But whatever. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't slide into some DM with some like cheesy line. It was join a bunch of cool lesbians at this LGBTQ showcase, and it just so happened that we both knew the same person singing.
So that helped, because I recognized her name. I was like, oh, Gina's going to be singing.
Yeah.
That'd be fun,
Yeah.
And then so I told my friend, I was like, okay, well, I think I'll go to this concert. So we made a plan like to meet there. So it was very casual. Kristen barely said like 5 words to me that night.
Okay. She was busy because it was her event.
Well, I didn't
Kind
want
of.
Stacey to think, like, I also knew, like, there had been some stuff, like, we had casually chatted over Facebook Messenger before we ever met up. Like, nothing major, just like, literally, I think Stacey was like, I love chips and salsa. Like, stuff
Okay.
like that.
Yeah. Okay. We're not talking heavy sexting. We're talking
No, it
chips
was
and
like,
salsa.
I can hear
literally.
Stacey saying this, though.
What do you like? I was like, oh, are you having a coffee or a mimosa for breakfast? And I was like, I'm having both. That kind of
banter.
Like, and we were then following each other on socials, so she could then see like I was on a family vacation in Sedona, so she might be like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing.
Very casual.
Very casual. But then this mutual friend was like, oh, anytime. I also just want to say, any lesbian listening to this, just know, if someone wants to hang out, it does not always mean that they want to date you.
Oh, that's good information for me.
It does not mean that you have to date them.
Yes.
Because I really was trying to find community at first. And this person, someone who I'd reached out to, was like, well, I thought you were hitting on me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm hitting on no one. I'm trying to heal myself and create community and, just kind of enrich my social circle.
Right.
Like, I'm doing my own work. Like, I'm not trying to look for anything. And so then I was like, oh my gosh, Stacey must think I was hitting on her.
I would have definitely thought you were hitting on me. Let the record show. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm pretty sure you might have been hitting on her, but let's see what you say.
Maybe.
I'm not going to say that I didn't find her very attractive. I mean, anyone who sees her photo,
anyone with
like,
eyes.
Oh, hi. But I really was just inviting a bunch of people and then see what happens.
Right.
So I wrote with this long message that was like, "Hi, it has come to my attention."
Very
I
good.
literally
Yep.
think I said something along
Like a
this
deal
line,
memo.
that you might have thought that I was hitting on you when I was asking you to join this thing. Now, granted, Stacey has had many people slide into her DMs, "Hey girl, hang."
Okay. Okay.
So I just wanted to, I said, I just want to make clear, I'm really looking for community. I'm trying to gather really cool, like-minded people. And I was not hitting on you. I really just I have really great friends. You should come and join and hang out.
Yeah. We're going to put these group together. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so when she first came to Analog with our mutual friend, I didn't want her to think I was hitting on her. So I truly didn't talk a lot to her. And I also felt like my friends, who are awesome, were a representation of who I am. And they were, of course, like chatting Stacey and our friend up and like getting to know them, because neither of them knew my friend group. So I thought, this is a good representation of who I am.
Right.
I'm going to be, I said, I greeted them.
I know. I just like
Right.
it easy.
She does. Because I purposefully didn't
Hey, here I am. What are you doing?
It is a tough line to walk because sometimes you truly are just like, I want to invite people. They seem cool, whatever. And it's like, you don't want it to be misunderstood.
Melissa and I are Melissa thinks no one's hitting on her. And I think if someone even just like waves to me from across the street, I'm like, Jesus, you guys, this girl totally wants me. It's happening again. And I've thought it ridiculous
People have
times.
to like clearly say to me, like, I like you. And I'm like, oh, like as a friend, right?
Yeah. So, and we had a nice time. And I think also for us, one of the things that we recognize that is of high value to us is that we both separately, obviously we never met up at it, went to this LGBTQ Catholic group to like at different times. And so there was, I think, that connection made us really kind of like, and it kind of was like, here are all the values I know that we must share based on us both attending or going to that group.
Wow. Wait, was it a Catholic? I'm Catholic. So it was a Catholic group for gay people?
Yeah.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's this like amazing church that's very affirming and for, in a conservative state.
Yeah.
Conservative-ish city, but not totally, but Catholic. And so it's amazing.
Yeah.
The priest even came to our Christmas dinner and sat with us and had cake and
oh my gosh, I would have loved that.
Yeah. So that was like that. I think
so we
was
figured that out that night.
Yeah.
This was in April, so we still had months where we were just friends and we'd meet up here and there. I
invited Stacey to a lot of things.
Okay.
And she only came to a few of them.
Okay. What was going through your head at this
Stacey,
point?
what were you doing?
Group. It was always group. It was always like, hey, we're
Group
going
settings,
to do this. Why don't you come and join us if you want to come and join us? Hey, we're doing this if you want to come and join us.
During that time, I was trying to, like, my divorce became finalized. I had done a good job of distancing myself from my first girlfriend. And I was just trying to breathe, really. I mean, y'all know. I mean, it's so hard to leave a marriage that was that long. And I mean, I went from living in a house to an apartment. This was the first time I had ever lived alone because I had moved from my parents' house when I was 19 in with my ex-husband. He's older than me. So I was trying to learn how to pay bills and be by myself because I had separated from my husband, left the house, went to the apartment, got serious with my first girlfriend. And that took up a lot of my headspace to where I didn't really have to, really be present in the apartment and realize what I had just done. It was kind of like I was able to go off and see her. We'd go on a trip together. And once I finally did break up with her, I was like, oh, reality set in. Like, oh, I really did this.
Yeah,
like,
I'm here alone and this is scary.
And I'm alone. And will I ever find a woman that loves me? Will I ever, be able to have good sex again.
Right,
Like,
right. These are
no,
all
I mean, I thought maybe
things.
that was a fluke.
The
Yeah.
answer is yes. Spoiler.
Spoiler
Yes,
alert.
even more so.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But I mean, all those things are just honest, thoughts that I was having at the time. So I just wasn't really, I think I just wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to be in a serious relationship again.
Yeah.
I needed that time to heal by myself. And
Yeah.
then in June,
Yeah. And I was also going on dates with
Yeah.
people. Like
Okay.
I was like just kind of just looking, running across folks like, oh, you want to do this? So I also wasn't sort of like sitting here like
Waiting
oh,
on
it's
Stacey.
gonna be
Yeah.
ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was it really wasn't. It was like, she's really cool. She's fun to be with. Hey, we're going to be here. Like she was just kind of in that rotation of friends who it was like, do you want to come hang out? Do you want to come hang out? Like,
And
that
then
kind
when
of thing.
she would come hang out, were you like, oh, I wish she was in a different place were you attempting it at
Like
that
open
point?
to dating, you mean?
Yeah. Or were you
No,
just
as a
still
matter
hanging-
of fact, one of the first times that she came to hang out with me, which she always brings up, I told her she should go date and sleep with as many lesbians as possible.
Yeah, it's probably really good advice, actually. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
looked at it, I was like, I can't do that.
I know.
I can't do that.
I was like, you need to figure out what your type is. You need to
But
figure out like what you want. You need to figure out vibe. I was like, so go and just sleep with a bunch of people.
Yeah. Which she then did. No, I'm just kidding.
But part of that is true. I did need to figure out what type of woman I was attracted to.
Yeah.
That is true. I did need to figure that out.
Don't you think though that like we talked about this recently, like for me, like it's sort of shifted a bit. Like it didn't stay static from when I came out to now, like what I'm attracted to. It's shifted a lot for
I totally
me.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree. 100%.
Okay, so
Mine has stayed the same.
yeah, it's true. So life goes on and you're kind of healing and you're out there dating but still including her. Then how does it eventually translate?
There was like a very specific, it was Franklin Pride.
Yeah.
Franklin Pride 2023.
Recently, really?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Like, we met up because we were both going to be at Franklin Pride. I was there to volunteer at this one booth, and she was just a general volunteer.
Mhm.
And when I started volunteering, and again, I came out there with friends. So there was like a group of like 4 of us. They went off and did their own thing while I worked this booth. And Stacey came by the booth and we just kind of chatted. And I was like, she's not leaving.
And I
Yeah.
love being myself in the booth. I would like go around the booth waiting for her to get there.
Oh,
yeah,
so you were
really?
starting to feel it.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I kept going like, is she there yet? Is she there?
Yeah.
So.
And then that night we were doing another concert at Analog with a musician friend that we all really liked. So we had another big group going. Stacey had a friend in town, I
Yeah.
think another pod guest,
Okay.
Caroline.
Okay. Yep.
And so they came over to the house and we had
And
was
Kristen
like-
went all out because it was her birthday, and
Caroline's
she went and
birthday.
got nothing but cake and a card, and had everybody sign it. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
look at
yeah. And
her.
it wasn't
That
even
was
your
sweet.
friend.
I know.
That's really good.
But I just really thought that
Bravo.
was
I'm slow clapping that.
yeah.
Thank you.
It was
Thank
Okay.
you.
it was a good move.
It was a move.
Yeah.
That was a 100%.
I'm remembering now that
Move.
when we came for Pride, Kristen had little goodie bags for all of
I
us.
did.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Okay.
Little
That was-
Tennessee themed goodie bags.
Yes. Yeah. And they had a bunch of Tello stuff in there. too.
Yeah. That was very
Yep.
sweet.
That is sweet.
Yep. So I kind of did like a very special thing for Stacey's friend, which I will say, I mean, Caroline and I are now friends. I didn't know Caroline at all, but I was like, oh, I'm going to show Stacey how thoughtful I am.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like, that was a move.
Mm-hmm.
And like that night we were just kind of flirty.
Yeah.
And that was when things
Yeah,
shifted.
that was a shift.
And then, but after that, we kind of were going away. Stacey was going on a road trip with her son. I was going out to LA. And we were like really heavily like flirty texty.
Yeah.
And then while we were both away, we planned our first date, which was the only time it was just the 2 of us, and we went to a movie.
Oh,
And so
wow. Okay,
that's
you
what we
picked a movie.
consider our anniversary.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's really cool. So how long were you gone, like, apart? Like, sometimes maybe that's kind of a cool thing to do, is like you have this immediate connection and then you go travel and you're left sort of thinking about each other on this extended week or whatever it is.
Yeah, it was like 2 weeks.
Yeah. So it's kind of like builds anticipation.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
never thought of it
probably,
that
I didn't,
way.
I hadn't either, but I think that's yeah, like really astute. I think that was very much kind of part of it, because I was like, well, I'm back on the 18th. When do you want to go see the movie? And she was like, I'm getting tickets for the 19th. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I love that. Like,
Once I make up my mind about something, I'm in.
yeah. Okay, cool. So then you go on the date, and is it now you've been anticipating this date likely the whole time you're away, and then it was magical, obviously.
It was magical. Yeah. It was a movie that the funny thing too is like, it was a movie we had both seen already.
Oh.
So,
What was the movie?
The Spider-Man movie.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
And
But the whole thing was supposed to be like, let's go watch it again to see if we can find the Easter eggs in the movie.
Mm.
And,
Okay.
like, discuss it.
I was like, that was
at dinner.
intense. Like, let's go again or something like
Yeah.
that. And so, and I couldn't tell, like, I also want to say, like, lesbians, like, we're very subtle, right? Like, there's very subtle little things that we do. So I was trying to see if Stacey wanted me to hold her hand, but Stacey sat with her hands together with her leg crossed. Like,
Oh my
in the middle.
God. What is happening,
Wow.
Stacey?
Man, she
It's just how I sit sometimes. I
Don't
didn't
you know
realize
that
it.
move?
Yes.
You know, make your hand
No,
available.
she does not know that move.
She didn't know the move.
I was like putting my arm.
You gotta
like,
make your hand available.
I was like
Yeah.
putting my arm like all, doing that whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
and finally
She
I
wasn't
was
taking
just
the
like,
bait.
not at all.
Wow.
And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to put my hand on her leg.
Hell
And if
yeah.
she moved away, then I know. And it was like, I put my hand on her leg and she put her hand on top of mine. So I was like, okay, we're
Okay,
good.
that's a
Like,
yes. That was an
Yeah, got
affirmative.
it.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we didn't like let go
No.
after that. And
And I
Aw.
was thinking of other thoughts besides Spider-Man.
It's
I
good
will
that you
say
saw a
that.
movie you've already seen, because then it's like, who
Yeah,
cares?
exactly.
because we didn't really have to pay attention.
No.
And it was
No.
just like, oh, wow, this leg feels really
Yeah.
nice.
And then we were supposed to go to dinner somewhere like by my apartment. But Kristen, again, with her smooth mood, she's like, you look too beautiful for a restaurant around here. I'm taking you downtown.
Whoa.
So she took me to a
she did
restaurant
look really
downtown.
good too.
And when we pulled up in the parking lot, she was like, before we go in here, I just have to ask, can I kiss you? Because I'll be thinking
Oh
about
my
kissing you
God.
when
This
you
one with the
No.
moves.
Yeah.
Okay. So then
I made enough mistakes that I'm much better now in my 40s.
and you hadn't kissed yet ever. It had just been flirting and now the
no.
leg touch.
Yeah. And I was just going to go in for like a little peck, and that is not what we had. I was like,
She's
okay.
okay with this.
Oh my goodness. Okay, cool. And like that was pretty much it. We were exclusive. We were
Right away.
like seeing each other every day immediately after that. And
Melissa had to witness our
I think I might have, to be honest, I have to tell you, I think I might have
love
even
this.
heard about it. Like, I barely knew you. And I think I might have
that was
even
like
had
the
to hear
second time
about
you
it.
guys hung, or third
Yeah.
time you guys hung out. And
Yeah.
like, damn, how long have they known each other?
I know. I think though I remember those feelings. Like I know what that is. Like you're just like waiting for the text. You're excited. You're like, it's all you think about every minute of every day.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. That's very cool. So then it was like after that movie, you were together. Like there was no,
That was it. That was pretty much it. I think like we saw each other like every day until I had to go on a family trip to New York. And so yeah, I think when I met Melissa at first, that was like the fourth time we had seen each other, but we had seen each other like every day. And I think even before then I was like, would you like to go to Manchester with me?
yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Like you
and
were
I was
just
like, yes.
sure.
And then when I told my family, they're like, wait, I'm sorry, what? You're doing what? You're going to Manchester?
I was like,
and
do you
live
have a
with this woman?"
passport?
Damn.
That's how she asked me. She's like, do you have a passport? This was like the next week. We'd only been seeing each other like 2 weeks.
Oh
and
my
we were at-
God.
Yeah. And she was like, do you have a passport?
Did you end up going?
Yes, I
Shit.
went.
Okay, this is where you and I are different. Like I don't know that I'm that even if I like you a ton, like, I don't know that I'm that carefree to know that I'm like waking up with you and now I got to do a whole thing. I've got my coffee ritual. Like, I've got to
Yeah, we went in August. Like we went to Manchester in August, at the
damn.
beginning of August.
I mean, that is like, you must have been like super comfortable, obviously.
Yeah. Well, everybody kept saying like, oh, well, y'all will either come back, still in love or broken up because you can't do international travel without like finding out everything, all the flaws and everything because we were there like what, a week?
Like 5 days.
Yeah. So
super long.
But, flying off to Manchester.
I think it's I mean, Marina and I did that. We went on a 7-day cruise.
I tried to talk her out of it. I'm like, you're making a huge
cruise.
mistake.
That's even more.
Right. We're trapped.
It's not even about getting in fights for me. It's not about you getting on my nerves. It's about like the morning and my coffee and I know I have these like things that my work, my like I would feel this pressure of like, here's this person now that's like, I've kind of have to entertain and I have so much of my own shit I'm worried about.
Okay.
I think it's definitely one of those things where you have to have like a lot of confidence in like your connection to do it, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like if you met the right person, maybe you would be willing to try. I mean,
maybe
the thing is like, if you're with the right person, that person will go along with whatever ritual you need in the morning.
Yeah.
They're going to want you to be happy.
That's true. Yeah. Well, it sounds like you guys are still in the honeymoon phase. I know. No, I would say that's true. Like, I would say Maria for a while, like definitely went along. Like, it was no problem. But by the end, it was kind of like, dude, it's 10 a.m. Are we still in this hotel room like with you? But I'm easy in that, like, you can go. Like, I have to get this done mentally for me to like go out and do my day. I'm annoying. I know my annoyances, but I want to get to the good stuff, which is the soulmate thing. Like, this is like, you're hitting Melissa and I at like the perfect time. Yeah.
Is it the perfect time?
Yes, it is.
Get off the dating app.
Yeah. We need the intel.
To find your soulmate.
Yeah. Well, I think so. A couple things have happened. Stacey and I have a travel show called the Let's Go Travel Show. And it's
so cool.
It's on Tello.
Okay.
And so as we have been traveling, which again, like, as we all kind of noted, like it can be very intense when you travel together. We travel together as though we've been doing this for like ever. Like, it just felt right. We were, it just, everything just like clicked and synced together.
Yeah.
And as we kind of interview, like, our big thing is to interview lesbian business owners. And every single time in the first like couple trips, we had people saying to us, like, who were single, they're like, I want someone who treats me the way you treat one another. I want someone who talks to me the way you talk to one another.
Oh.
And we actually started kind of like low-key coaching these folks, like through their breaking up with their toxic girlfriend or partner or the ex that kind of wouldn't leave them alone. And as Stacey and I started talking about the things that we did to call in one another, we were like, wait a minute, like, there's something here. Like, there's something here in this work that we did separately. Part of it was what Stacey did to leave her husband and how she was preparing herself for her future wife. And then mine was like, I realized that I just went from relationship to relationship to relationship. I was like a relationship hopper. I was like, you weren't the right one. Let me go into this other one. And I never really reflected on why it didn't work. Who was I calling in? Why was I calling in this kind of person that didn't love me or treat me the way that Stacey does or make me feel that way? And it's because I never took time to really sit in that breakup and do the work and figure out what it was that I really wanted. And when I broke up with my last like serious long-term relationship, I remember thinking, like, I'm not going to hop into another relationship. Like, I need to realize like what it is that I want. I need to figure out what my part is in all of this, because I really had some huge blocks. Like,
and what was the
you know,
work? Like when you say I needed to take time and do the work, like I love, because we say that all the time, like we're doing the work, but like, what is that to you?
Yeah. Well, I was not a journaler at that point. So I really picked up journaling. I picked up journaling around in 3 specific areas. One was divine timing, and like really understanding, just not just in relationship also, but in work and in all aspects of my life, like what is meant for me at what time.
Yeah.
And so divine timing can be a really difficult concept for people. So I really started focusing in and journaling on divine timing. Then I started looking at, manifestation.
Really, so divine timing, is that like, I have never heard that said like that. I believe in that fully though. It's like with my business, with my friend, everything. Timing is everything. Yeah. So is that what that means? Does it just mean like I'm showing up ready at the right time when you're showing up ready at the right time and we're in the right place? Is that what you mean when you say divine timing?
Yeah, it's that. I mean, you can look at it in a kind of yes, you can look at it as far as people. Like I clearly was not ready for Stacey. I needed to do some work. I needed to heal my early 23-year-old, who was the first time that person was in a relationship. I needed to do like a cord cutting ceremony for like past relationship. Like it's kind of woo-woo stuff, but like I needed to like really understand that I wasn't ready for Stacey. So if I look at divine timing in that way, she didn't present herself until I started really doing that work.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I think that's fascinating.
So, and you can do that with like, even like business. Like sometimes I have looked back at business and thought, why didn't I get this XYZ thing that I thought I deserved at the time? Well, it was like, it wasn't your time to get that. It wasn't your time to, hit this milestone. Now it is, because you're ready for it. You can handle it.
Right.
And so, it's like that saying, that which is meant for you will not pass you.
Yeah.
And so, but if something does pass you, then it means either you're not ready, it's not meant for you, or it's meant for someone else, or you're just not in a place that you can receive it in the way that you should receive it.
Okay.
Like if I was in my, late 30s and I had met Stacey, I could have screwed this whole thing up.
Right.
Because I wasn't ready, because I hadn't done the work, and I could have sabotaged, this piece. And so I believe that like I called my soulmate in after I did the work and I was ready to receive her. And, I think, and we can dig into this as well, because we also have a breakup course, but all of this is around, Stacey has some amazing suggestions. She made a love playlist. She wrote a letter to her future wife. I wrote down the things that I wanted in a soulmate. And like Stacey ticks all of those boxes. Like, so there's different things that we each did that are in the journal that gives you space to journal. And then
to get
also
clarity. I mean, it's like if you physically write it down objectively, you're writing a letter, you're checking. I mean, to me, there's like the optics of even seeing on the paper what just came out of my brain is like clarity.
Exactly.
I think that's really cool.
Yep. And so go ahead, sweetheart.
I was just going to say, talking about the letter, like writing the letter really helped me because it made it real, and it gave me something to like hold on to and be able to go back and look at when things were really rough, or when I was really sad, or I felt alone. Especially after I had broken up with my first girlfriend, the second time, third time, whatever, I was feeling so lonely, but I had that letter and I had it written out, the things that I was calling in for my future wife. And just having that piece of paper, it sounds silly, but it's your handwriting. It's something you're holding on to. It just makes it real.
It does. I totally agree. I don't journal. I know I should, but like the letter, that's really cool. Like, did it make you sad too? Of like, God, I'm writing this letter to this person that I have to like trust is out there, but maybe they're not. And
it didn't make me sad. It gave me hope. Like it made me feel better to have the letter. And then I put it in an envelope, and I knew one day I was like, one day I'm going to give this letter to my wife on our wedding day. And I just believe it. I believed it.
Right.
I knew it would be true,
Yeah, that's amazing.
You just have to really go deep and trust your intuition for what you want.
What
for
was
what you
in the
deserve.
letter back then, or like even in your journal back then, would you say it still holds true? Like what you thought you wanted is still
Yes.
the same?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool too. Yeah.
That's really
All
cool.
right. So I interrupted. Go ahead. Sorry. Okay. So then,
No, that's okay. Yeah. So we just started, and so I just said, Stacey, we need to, I've never felt love like this before in my life. Like never. Like I've had a lot of long-term relationships. I was married to a woman. And so I thought, if I can find this in my late 40s and I recognize what was missing and I recognize what I was doing that wasn't right, how can we help people to do, like, obviously you don't have to do all 10 suggestions,
right.
because some of them aren't going to resonate with you, but maybe 5 of them do. And those 5 things can start you on a path to really realizing what it is that you want, why you want it, and believing in your heart that it's for you and that you deserve it. And so I thought, if we can help, and we have helped people, like
Right.
we use some of the stuff in this journal, and one of the people that we helped is now moving in. They're buying a house with this, who she believes is her soulmate.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
another person who we kind of coach through very lightly some things to help her get out of like reconnecting with her ex over and over again. And as soon as she like did that and recognized the pattern that was happening, she called in this amazing woman who she's still seeing right now, and who treats her well and who treats her with like respect and dignity and love. And so I thought, how can we help
Yeah.
others in something that we've seen? And we never saw a journal. I could be wrong, so it might be out there now. Like all the journals were around self-love.
Right.
And that's of course a component of it. But we did, like, we looked and tried to find ones that were specifically for calling in your soulmate or calling in love. And we couldn't really find any. We found a lot of self-love ones. That's great.
Yeah.
But this is about, calling in your soulmate.
Yeah. No, I think, and there's so many people who want that. Like it's such a mission. But like, do you ever think about like how many people, like in a group of, let's say you walk into a room, there's 50 women there, 50 lesbians. I always am like very curious around how many really are quote unquote doing the work, or quote unquote even thinking about the work.
Yeah.
Like I think it's not many. Like I think most people
I
just
agree. Like,
autopilot the shit out of their life.
It's something that I think both Allie and I have kind of done a deep dive on ourselves the last several months, given what we've been going through.
Right.
And it is work that I kind of like didn't consider previously, but it is aligned with what you guys are talking about. The journaling and the future self kind of stuff. I've done a lot of like meditations, inner child stuff,
Yes.
just really trying to kind of pinpoint like,
what was my role?
What was my role?
Yeah.
How can I be better?
Totally.
And how do I, like kind of attract what I'm looking for, and recover from what happened,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
I think that I love that you talked about inner child work, because I think that is a huge component of doing this. And it can sound so woo-woo and it feels so weird. And it felt weird to me when I first did it. I thought, this is the dumbest thing I have ever.
Yeah, 100%.
But the first time I ever did it, when I was healing something else, like I talked to my 17-year-old self, and it cleared out like so much like shame and frustration that I had felt that I couldn't figure out how to get rid of. When it did that immediately, I was like, oh crap, there's something here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the I don't know if this is interesting, but like
Yeah.
for me, when I tried to talk to my 23-year-old self, that's when I had my first breakup with a woman. And I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated. She did not come forward for a little while. Like I would meditate and I would try to talk to her, and she wouldn't. I don't know what it was, but she just wasn't coming out. And I was like,
how can I
okay,
deal with this? Yeah.
how can I exactly? But the good part was I knew, because for us, this could be different for kids coming out now, like Gen Y or Z or whatever we're on. But when I was growing up, and I thought I was straight. If I broke up with a guy, big deal.
Yeah, who
Like,
gives a
Yeah,
shit?
exactly.
really
Moving
good.
on.
Sometimes they broke up with me and I didn't even know we were dating. So like it didn't matter. And so like when I look at my sister who is in like so straight, super straight, married to a husband, 3 kids, she went through these devastating breakups when she was like 15, 16, 17.
Yep.
Her frontal cortex, right? Your executive functioning skill that is not done developing until you're 25 does not compute and understand breakup, heartbreak. You know, I always I've started to say this for Twilight fans, which I am not really, but Stacey is. But like in New Moon, when Edward leaves Bella and she's devastated,
Yeah.
and like sits there, I never understood that
Right.
until now. And I was like, if Stacey left me, that's exactly what I would do. But you would do it at 49, not at 17. And so when there's so much around brain development, breakup, and relationship that we are lacking as lesbians.
I never thought about that. You're right. Like we didn't get the training, even though I was
Or the
straight.
experience.
Yeah, we didn't get the training or the experience. And now I'm having to do it. I mean, my heartbreak that just happened was like, I don't even know how to, I was wrecked.
Exactly. And you're going, I'm 40 something years old. Why am I feeling this way? Well, it's because we didn't have we have no neural pathways that help us understand that. And so it's completely different when that's what Stacey went through with her first breakup with her first girlfriend. These neural pathways were not developed. And so we're figuring this out later in life. And now that we're older and we have more money, we can make dumber, more expensive decisions. You know what I mean? Like my
100%.
sister couldn't jump in the car. And
I might have seen a psychic the other day. So I'm just saying.
Seriously. And so doing the inner child work and healing that part of you when you first had a breakup is with a woman was critical for me, and it opened up and healed so much. I mean, I was just making stupid irrational decisions as a person in her late 40s that made no sense. I needed to heal my 23-year-old self, and then like once I did that, it really unlocked a huge part for me, like that I believe then allowed me to be open and call in Stacey.
Yeah. I think there's a lot to be said about doing the inner child work. And a lot, like you say, it's kind of people frown upon it, look at it, it's kind of like woo woo, whatever. But I remember years ago, I was in therapy and my therapist, she was like, you need to write a letter to your teenage self. And I was like, what? Like, I couldn't figure out even how to start. And I got so irritated by the whole thing. I never did it. This also, I mean, I didn't really like that therapist that much, but that was part of it. She wasn't giving me much guidance on like what she meant. And I just was not in like the function of mind to understand it. Yeah. But now today, like I've started to do the inner child thing where initially I did it as like a 3-year-old, 5-year-old ish. And then I just did one recently where I was like 14. And so I kind of want to dive deeper into those like different stages of where I was at in my life. Because I really think, like you're saying, the 23-year-old self, this all speaks so much to where we're at those times in our lives and how we know ourselves.
And we have like a write a letter to your, yourself during your first breakup. Like we do that because I think that's easier to understand or get people to see that. Like there's something about writing a letter that makes it easier than close your mind and envision yourself.
It is hard. It's hard work.
It's hard. I think that is a huge piece of what helped me. So that's just one of our 10 suggestions in the.
Tell us a little bit more about how you can find your book and find more about you guys, your travel show and all that stuff.
I know. I'm so excited about the travel show because season 2 is starting September 30th. And I'm super proud of these episodes. It'll be Wilton Manors, Croatia, Barcelona, some of my favorite places we've traveled to this year. So please check it out. And to find our book, it's free on Kindle Unlimited right now, or you can get it for $3.99. And if you want the paperback version, it's $9.99.
Yeah. So it's available on Amazon.
Yes, on Amazon.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then we also have a website that people can go to called Let's Go Travel Show. And that actually has like a lot more information all around. I think Stacey and I's kind of new life mission is much more of like a lifestyle brand. So we really want to help lesbians and queer women find community, find love, and really travel, find good spaces to travel, have the ability to travel, create, trips so that they can go on them.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that, so we have a lot of stuff. If you go to lesgotravelshow.com, we have a lot of stuff that kind of we are highlighting right now. And one of the things that I think we're really excited about is a breakup course that we're doing. I think you all would definitely, just given also where you all are coming out of, let's say coming out of it now. Stacey and I are doing a breakup course.
Okay. Say more.
Yeah. Go ahead, baby.
Okay. It is going to be a email delivered course for 30 days.
Okay.
And basically, do you want to share more about
Yeah. Well, Stacey talked about how it was the early mornings that were the hardest for her.
Yeah.
The breakup.
Right.
And I think that's, I don't know if that's the same thing that happened to y'all, but it was the early morning texts. It's the early, it's the.
Well, not having someone to communicate with on a regular basis.
Exactly. Yeah. And, kind of almost like creating a new habit. Like you had a habit when you woke up and there was someone else in the house. Or
I just started texting Allie.
Yeah, we did that.
That's a great. Well, so if you don't have an Allie, that's what our course I think is going to be good for. Is
I love that.
We will be in your inbox for 30 days every morning. You will have a message from us that is talking about, one of the ways you can heal. Really, kind of being empathetic, like understanding, like where you are, because we've been through a breakup as well, and then having either an action. We'll always have a journal prompt, so we very much encourage, even if it's just one page, like journaling during the day, like just one page. We'll have a journal prompt, and then we'll also have like a suggestion. Like one of the early suggestions is, you're probably sad, find a comedy, find a stand-up comedian and watch it. Tig Notaro, great one. Fortune Feimster.
I love that it's like actually like a concrete thing to do, because I think so often people are like, oh, go watch a movie. Well, I'm not going to go sit and watch a movie unless you like tell me that specific thing.
And it's hard to get into that stuff when you're mourning and when you're really like sad and grieving. Like my attention span is zero. Zero.
Totally. So that's why there's also like there's an action that you can take, and then a journal prompt that you can journal. And so we kind of are looking at being like your morning replacement for who you miss, and creating that new habit in the morning, and so that you don't feel as alone when you're going through a breakup.
And my thing wasn't like I more like catastrophize the future. Well, I mean, for one thing, like I built my life in a way that I thought this was going to be the end for me. And so it's like you build your life in this certain way, and then it implodes, and you're kind of like catastrophizing 10 years from now or 5 years from now. Like, I don't know. That's what I tend to do. So it's like you need things, concrete things to hold on to. Because otherwise it's like, I'm worried about, why am I already worried about 5 years from now? Like, it's like, this is ridiculous. I should not be worried about that, but I am. That's the reality.
Yeah.
So I think stuff like that, action items, like it's so helpful.
Yeah. Well, we're
in the
really
throes of it.
excited because we believe that this could really help lesbians in the first 30 days of when they're hurting the most
Yeah.
have created
Yeah.
this community.
Yeah. I just remember how hard it was for me. The mornings, I just dreaded it. I dreaded the mornings so bad because I missed that connection of like, good morning, what are you going to do today? Like, even just that simple conversation. But if I would have had something like this in place where I could have known, like, I'll check my email, there'll be an action step. Let me focus on that. I'm not alone, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I didn't have anything like that.
I think it's great what you're doing, and it's going to be extremely helpful to a lot of people, me and Allie included.
Well, we just like, I never thought I'd be doing this. Like you know what I mean? Like my life with Stacey, it's just completely changed.
Mhm.
And I think everyone deserves this kind of love.
I do too.
Absolutely.
I want to help. I want to be at least some part in helping people find it and knowing that it's out there for them.
Yeah, totally. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having
It's
us
so good
again.
to see you.
Yeah, you too. Hopefully we'll
I'm
see each
glad that
other.
we get to see each other soon in the next few
I
weeks.
know, I know. Yeah, let's try to link up. For
That'd be
sure.
awesome.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, bye,
Okay,
guys.
Bye.
Want to support the Lesbian Chronicles podcast? Rate us and write a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify.
We love listener feedback. If you'd like to share your story, email us at melissaandallie@gmail.com. That's Melissa, MELISA, and Allie, ALLI, @gmail.com. Or follow us on Instagram at Lesbian Chronicles.